Made quite a few comments, Mr. President, as this bill left, and I don't think anybody is hoping I repeat all that, but I don't think I can just sit here and then watch this go, just without offering a few parting thoughts as the promoters of this bill to legalize marijuana move forward and celebrate their victory. And so, well, good for you all. You've been working on this for a while, and but I just want to caution people, and I want to remind the promoters of this thing that there's two groups of people that we need to think about. One group of people are people over 25, and people who are 40. And there was a fellow at one of our hearings who said he had 10 dabs this morning, and he was a 50-year-old guy, and he's used to it, and nothing bad's going to happen to him much more than it's not a big deal. He's used to it. This is what he does and makes his day, works it out. But there's a second group of people, Mr. President, and it seems like nobody's thinking about that for the ease of convenience. And in the committee, when this came to us, I made an effort to raise the age to 25 because the people under 25 are an entirely different population. Particularly those who are under 21, particularly those who are under 18, particularly those who are under 16, who are going to be using this because they use it today. And you don't have to sit through very many hearings, Mr. President, on substance use to get the idea that there's some people who run afoul of this. You don't sit through very many hearings, Mr. President, to meet a mother who grieves the loss of her son or her daughter, who ran into this thinking it was nothing, and they were so psychotic and so mentally challenged that their life, that it seemed it was almost irreversible. And if you think that's just some old guy standing here taking away your fun, Mr. President, it's not necessarily fun for this group. There is a certain entertainment element to this. Like, oh, I feel so good now. But it's not nothing. And the people who are going to be supporting this at the age of 21, which I think is a grave error, and I did my best to push on that. And it's amazing, Mr. President, how the vote changed from 1 week where I would have had a 5-3 vote in favor of going to 25. A little blizzard came along and a little discussion in the back room, and suddenly it got down to the other way around, failing. It's amazing. So the bill is clean, Mr. President. It's 21, so simple, just like alcohol, just like so many other things, just like going to buy a cigarette. But, Mr. President, this is not alcohol, and it's not a cigarette. Neither of those are good for you, and I'm not going to tell you not to smoke or not to drink, because people are going to do it anyway. But I can tell you the 18-year-olds who are misled by the enthusiasm of the authors and the promoters of this thing, and those of the marijuana party and the libertarians and how cool it all is, are misleading those individuals. And some of those individuals are going to find themselves in grave harm. And there's discussions about the size of the bureaucracy and what about the cities, and all those are all legitimate enough. I'm not going to spend 1 second on those except to mention that there's other concerns. But at the end of the day, Mr. President, some relative, and I pray it never happens, but some relative of somebody who is gleefully using this is going to get a hold of it, and they're going to be really sorry. Some 11-year-old, some 15-year-old, and if you read anything on the research, no one refutes, Mr. President, the synapses of these immature brains under 25, and particularly under 23 and 21 and 18, are very sensitive to harm from this stuff. Not so much the old stuff, but this new stuff is not nothing. And I believe the proponents are sick of hearing this. And sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. Because in the career I'm in, which is healthcare, watching the harms that happen to people who make choices that they could have avoided, and listening as a former chair of a committee for 6 years, listening to the grieving words of a mother who is here to try to save one more person from this happening to, because her child is gone. On behalf of those folks, I am telling you this. And so to the sellers of it, to the people who are going to share with your friends, the people who are going to vote for this thing, I want to remind you that the ill effects of this are not unforeseen. And it's not just some old guy warning you not to go have fun and to enjoy your youth, but to say it is not nothing. And I don't know what else to say, Mr. President, but I'm not speaking one word of untruth. And even though the people on Twitter like to say, oh, what do you know? Go ahead. Laugh at the truth. But, Mr. President, my conscience will be clear because I tried. I tried to make it 25. And it should go back to conference and make it 25. If you did some of that stuff, I might actually vote for this thing. But the way it's going to be set up here, and I'm cautioning the authors and the proponents and the people who think this is going to be the best day of their life when this passes tonight. Mr. President, for some people, if you're old enough and you're durable enough in your brain, have a good time. And we shouldn't criminalize it. I just want to remind people, I had the bill for decriminalizing a couple of years in a row with Representative Gomez, and we couldn't get any traction on it. So I don't think we should be criminalizing this and going after people in some kind of racial disparate way or any group of people that should be treated differently about this. That's a problem that can easily be fixed without going to this extent to make this available to middle schoolers. But I want to just, if you're the big brother and you're able to get this, tell your kid brother and kid sister, don't do that. So that's all I got, Mr. President. And so I pray that nothing I'm saying comes true and that no one comes to harm and everybody is like so wise that everything I said could have been true, but it won't. Members, I urge you to vote green on the motion to re-refer.